one versus the other and so forth. Could you do me a favor and click on the slide? So here's some of the things we'll talk about is what is this thing called AI? Like, what is it? How do we use it? How do I protect myself? How do I grow my business with it? And how do I use it to measure myself and improve? I can tell you that most people use AI incorrectly. To some extent, they're using it a little bit incorrectly. So we're going to talk about how best to use it in relation to our business. So I'm not going to tell you about how to use it as prescribing you the best workout routine or physical therapy or whatever, but how do we use it in our industry? So hopefully by the end of the class today, in plain language, you can explain what AI is, what large language models are, how to identify at least 3 platforms, which you guys have already mentioned, 4 platforms to use. We're going to just be able to describe 3 major risks that you're going to face in using different platforms, how to apply written guardrails to your prompts, how to do better prompt engineering to get a better success on the output that you'll have, how to analyze your own production versus your income goal. So if your income was X and your goal that you haven't attained was much higher than that, how do we analyze that KPI? How do we analyze that gap? How do you move the needle to get you from here to here? And not by guessing, but how do we throw in analytics? So we'll talk about exactly how to do that. I'll talk about some other AI tools that I use often, like NotebookLM is one that I absolutely love, as well as some custom GPTs. I'm going to talk about NotebookLM as well. Yeah, I had some Kahoots in here, but I realized Kahoot doesn't work well with Google Slides, so we'll skip some of it. The Kahoot was more of things asking the questions that I just asked now, like which platform do you use and so forth. AI, so what is it? It's a system that identifies patterns, predicts outcomes, and generates content based on massive amounts of data. What it doesn't know is truth. What it does is recognize patterns in language, and it attempts to complete that pattern. AI thinks in patterns, not facts. So this is where people kind of get derailed. So they'll go, I asked AI, and it told me. And I'm like, what was the question that you asked? And if it was just one question or a simple sentence, you're already wrong. It's completely and already wrong. Like you have to treat AI like you would an assistant that doesn't know anything. So if you've just been introduced to a brand new person, you wouldn't go, hey, how do I increase my income? Because that new person's going to be like, based on what? What are you talking about? What industry are you in? There's too much information that's missing. So there should be some dialogue back and forth. AI doesn't understand meaning. It predicts what word should come next. AI is a research accelerator, not a replacement for professional judgment. AI amplifies your productivity, but you remain the licensed fiduciary. So AI can help draft, summarize, ideate, rewrite, learn contracts, automate tasks, but it cannot interpret law. People who are using it as an attorney, it is not accurate. Don't do that. It cannot give legal advice. It cannot provide tax guidance. It cannot certify facts or apply law to a specific fact pattern. And it is per HRS 605-14. Can you monitor the chat, make sure there's nothing that I need to answer? You're not just a real estate agent. So here's the why should you use AI. You're not just a real estate agent. You're a marketer. You're a negotiator, an analyst, a counselor, a firefighter, a therapist, a babysitter, all those things, right? Every day you juggle tons of roles. And you didn't get into this business to drown in admin work or paperwork or contract rewriting and all these other kind of things. You got into it to do business with people and connect with them and build relationships and so forth. So I love AI. I use it. I would say I'm a high-level user. I juggle about 4 or 5 different platforms all at one time because there's different uses for different platforms. So if you're only in one, we'll talk about why you should expand and use other ones and when those uses should come into play. But remember, you are a licensed fiduciary, not the system. So if you make an error based upon what that system told you, you're ultimately responsible, not the system. Speed of the leader, speed of the pack. I love that saying. So whether you're by yourself, whether you have a team meaning an admin person, a VA, or a mega team, a large team for that matter, you should be model first, master second, then multiply third is how you should integrate that. But you should integrate it with proper decision making and guardrails and so forth. Your responsibility is not to chase AI, it's to direct it. So be the leader, set the tone. It can help you with your business goals. You can improve growth, development, operational efficiency. Those are the things that it's really, really good at. It can help analyze what your skill gap is. Any kind of technical proficiency, it can help you learn that. And you can jump into different systems to learn the other system, believe it or not. What the knowledge gap is, and then it can help you with your leverage gap, the delegation, the automation, all those other kind of things. I know that Daniel and probably Hunter, right? When you guys use Claude, are you trying to fill the automation gap? And it does, it helps, right? It literally, if you use it the right way, it's equivalent to probably what you would pay a six-figure salary for someone to do, or $50,000 salary for multiple assistants. So it's powerful. Is it worth knowing? 100%. But you got to use it the right way. So I hear this all the time. I don't hear it as much anymore as people are diving more into it. But I hear like, is AI going to replace agents? Are we going to not have a job anymore as an agent? I will tell you that you will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by the agent who's mastered and leveraged AI, for sure. Because there's far too many agents that are using it. I think using it wrong more often than not. Yeah.
Just to give perspective, thousands of companies across the US right now are facing this massive human shortage as they replace thousands of humans with AIs with the thought that it would do this, and it did not. So even massive corporations are finding out that AI is not a replacement for humans. It is an assistant to the humans.
Now, are there certain industries that AI can eliminate or reduce or impact greatly and so forth? The answer is absolutely, for sure. Thankfully, ours is not one of them. But what are some of the industries that can be negatively impacted by AI in terms of eliminating those individuals? Authors, right? Data entry clerk. What do you think? Cybersecurity. Yeah, there are certain. So if you're in that industry, maybe time to get your resume out there, perhaps. But fortunately for us, I mean, how can an AI physically show properties to a client, a buyer? How can we open up doors? How can we negotiate contracts? How can you meet in front of and sit in front of a seller and understand their pain point with wanting to sell their property and why they want to sell and where they're moving to next and how many memories were created in the home that you're selling? It can't do those things. What it can do is make you more efficient at doing those things because it's handling some of the administrative functions that you would otherwise be tasked to do or pay someone to do. AI can't build trust with a nervous first-time home buyer. It can't read the emotional temperature of a listing appointment. It can't manage conflict during negotiations. It can't replace relationships, empathy, intuition, expertise. But what it can do is become the best, most efficient, and most importantly, unpaid assistant that you've ever had. I say unpaid assistant relatively free because the systems have its own cost associated with it. And when you start using it super high level, this is where the cost goes up because now you have APIs, which we'll talk about, which is linking automation to other systems. And depending on what platform you're using, there's something called tokens. Some call it credits. I think there's other terms that each platform uses. And those credits could cost more money depending on how much you're using it. So it can have a cost, but it's certainly substantially less than what it would be hiring an individual. And it's far less likely to make an error or mistake. Like I'll give you an example. One of the things that I want to build for our brokerage, but also externally as well, is a contract review or like a compliance system review. It's super, super difficult to do because you can imagine every one of you guys are writing contracts in a different way. You're writing it a different way. Some of you are using templates, some of you aren't, some of you are using your own, some are sending it in via PDF, some, all these different kind of methods. But what if we had a system that was kind of like a green light, red light, yellow light system? So Lexi sends it in instead of waiting and texting me and she goes, Chad, can you review my contract? I'm here with my buyer. I want to, whatever the case is, right? What if she sends it to me and within 60 seconds, she got a response? It's not me, it's the system. But I trained the system. So the system is thinking exactly how I would think because I trained it. And it's going to open up, analyze the entire PDF, and it'll green light her to go, yep, you're good to send it via DocuSign. Or it yellow lights her and says, you're good to send it. However, you might want to consider this, 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 this. So it gives her some structure. Or red light, you got to make these corrections before you send it. But she gets that response in 60 seconds. And then it sends me a report immediately of what it already reviewed and approved for her. And at the end of the day, it sent me a report of everyone that was approved, reviewed, and so forth. So there's compliance checks and balances. Like, what would that look like? That'd be amazing. So those are the kind of things that AI can do. The problem with setting that system up is, even though that sounds fantastic, the time spent on programming and training it, because it has to understand law, contract, our own policy and guidelines. But the API method is huge expense right now, today. But in 6 months, maybe 12 months, nothing, because the cost goes down over time. So here's what things that it can do. Content creation. How many of you guys have used it? Have you guys know Sora? Have you guys used Sora? I love those stupid videos. I'm like, make me do this and that and the other thing. And it just puts you in a video. And it does it within minutes, right? Or have you gone to Gemini and like, create me this image? Sometimes it's, in its first iteration, it was kind of wacky. It would misspell words. It would give me 7 fingers on one hand, right? But it's gotten better. Client service, client communications, translated into different languages. That's been super helpful. I've used that before. Document processing, document review, condo docs, right? Huge stacks of documents. It can summarize some trust documents as well. Visual context, creating graphics, logos, open house fact sheets. It can do research. Now, keep in mind, these kind of things all have its limitations. You can step on a landmine on any one of these, so you want to make sure that you understand that that exists and to put up the proper guardrails for that. So for those of you who don't know, what is an LLM? What is a large language model? So we know, as you guys mentioned, ChatGPT, we know Gemini, we know, I use Perplexity is my favorite one. Not that I'm sponsored by Perplexity, but Perplexity has access to Claude, ChatGPT, its own large language model, and others within Perplexity. So that subscription gives you access to the other ones too. So there's different ones, right? So the client facing is the platform itself, but behind the scenes, they each have its own large language model. And so what is it? What is it? It's a huge amount of proprietary texts, input, websites, data, all these other kind of things that all those platforms have created for themselves. It's their own proprietary library, if you will, their own database. Most of it is not shared or, cross-contaminated in any way. But you put input in, like a prompt or a text or image or whatever it is. I've literally done this before too. I've sent, someone hand wrote something and I couldn't read the writing. So I just screenshotted it, put it in a ChatGPT. I'm like, what does this say? And it gave me what it believed, and it was accurate. So like, you can put images in there. It's not great at video depending on what platform you're using, but there are ones that do. Have you guys ever seen the deep fake music? I love that, where it changes like an old Snoop Dogg song into a country western song, or a Metallica song into a rap song. Like AI is doing all these kind of things. So you can put this input, that the AI engine using its large language model will give you an output. It'll either answer a question for you, it'll give you the image, it'll create an audio or video file. Now you can even have AI create new software or websites or phone apps. Like, it's very, very, very detailed. So there's a chatbot. There's also an AI agent. There's different things as it starts to accelerate. By the way, what's interesting is I first drafted these slides maybe about a little over a year ago. I've had to update it like 6 or 7 times because AI is moving so quickly that if I didn't update it, it's already old. You already know everything on this slide. So I got to keep adding and adding and adding to this. That's how quickly AI is moving, which should be assigned to agents that you should be jumping on AI right now. Like if you're not a master of AI, jump on it. It's absolutely worth learning. An AI chatbot. So it waits for your prompts. This is an example of a ChatGPT if you guys use that. It's using a chatbot. It's waiting for your user prompt. There's single responses, right? All interactions has visible, it's in the conversation dialogue. There's no system access. You're either accessing it on your phone through the app or through the website. It's user controlled and it ends when the conversation ends. Like when you're done, you just go, okay, thank you, click, and you just hang up. That's a chatbot. Now there's AI agents. Not that you have to switch from one to the other, but there's two different functions. An AI agent, it self-initiates tasks automated. It's completely autonomous. It executes actions on your behalf. The actions may not be visible to you. It could be doing it behind the scenes. It continues working across the sessions. Even if you shut it down, it's still working behind the scenes if you're asking it to. Here's where you have to be very careful. It can access files, your own applications, your own database, web services, etc., and it has completely autonomous operation. Have you guys, anyone use AI agents? You use it for what? Okay, I don't even know that.
Some of the ones that I kind of design are more for like they'll monitor the network. And if something goes down, it has 3 steps that it can take to try and restart it.
Okay, so what I don't want to nerd out too much. So I want to tell everyone who's on Zoom who can't hear, Brian chimed in. He created an AI agent. So it has automated function. It has access to all these different things, right? And he created to monitor the network. So if we have a network issue, high traffic glitch, shutdown, whatever it is, it goes through different steps that he's trained to get it restarted or probably to alert you so that you can intervene if it can't figure it out, right? That's a great use of an AI agent. Anyone else use an AI agent? What's that? Well, they all have, most now, all the platforms has some iteration of an agent. You have to select it. The agent usage, this is more of a high-tech conversation, but in ChatGPT as an example, or OpenAI, you can select an agent. It has different usage of tokens or credits. So if you're on a $20 a month plan, there's only so much agent activity and automation that you can set up within your plan. Otherwise, you're gonna have to bump up your plan at a higher cost because it uses more agents. But people use it for, here's my login information and let me know when the airline prices to Singapore go down to X. And you can say that, right? And so what you've done is you've given it your login, your password information to the websites or whatever it is that you want it to search, and it'll automatically on its own search on a daily basis, an hourly basis, whatever you set it to, and let you know, by the way, Diane, I found this, it's right now, it's at the price that you want it. So does that save time? Absolutely. There's a couple ways it can. Yes, you can set it up so it can notify you via email, but if you have the app on your phone or on your, it can also ping and have a notification that shows up and says you have a new message from whatever the platform is that you're using. So that's the difference between the two. Most of us use the chatbot, right? We ask it a question, we shut it down. So Margie and Hunter and Daniel use, I don't use Claude very often. That's the one that I use probably the least for no reason. Just I have so many already. But OpenClaw or Claude, this is by far and away, I don't know if you see social media, but it's like very, very trendy right now because you can do a lot of different things. It's open source. It's super, super flexible. It's super powerful. I always thought there's a learning curve, but Hunter said not really.
Time searching, you might just play around with it.
Yeah.
You do one thing, then it's like, oh,
give me one for the Zoom. Give me one task that you use Claude for that you would otherwise spend money on hiring someone to do.
So football, for example, so Daniel actually had it fully into all of his files and iMessages and everything, and it would read his conversations and every morning remind him oh, this is what you have to do today based on just his interactions online or on iMessage. For Claude, I do different things like I created this custom golden letter generator where you upload CSV files and it creates a custom like Bolt creates custom golden letters based on like the amount of equity, like location, and then you can bulk export, print them as PDFs, and then makes it so much easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you use it for that function. Is there a reason why you find Claude better or easier to do that task versus another?
And a lot of that stuff requires like custom coding, but I don't know how to code, right? So you just buy code and I tell it I ran to do this, do that, and it just.
So he's basically saying for Zoom is that OpenClaw Claude is that's the beauty or benefit or curse depending on where you are of open source. It's super flexible. He mentioned you have to do some coding. He's not a coding guy, but all of those codes are pretty easily and readily available. There's also apps that help you code. So you can go into an app and go, I'm trying to do this, and it goes, here you go. Here's the ready-made code. So for those who are more on the beginning side of things too, here's a good list. I updated it about 30 days ago, so it may have changed already, who knows? But here's a list of the most commonly used AI systems. And for what reason and why would you use one versus the other? So obviously we have ChatGPT. It's very broad. It's very reliable as kind of a general statement. What is it best for? Creativity, general writing. It's very good for those kind of things. Listing remarks, helping you analyze CMAs or client messages. Some pros, great writer. Cons, no MLS integration. It tends to also, there's a term in AI world, it's called hallucinate. It's not my term, it's its own term. How much does it cost? 20 bucks a month. They're all relatively the same, by the way. They're all roughly in the 20 bucks a month. Oh yeah, of course. The slides? Yeah, I'll send the slides out, everyone, for those on Zoom and those here. There's also Gemini, which Brian mentioned that he uses most. Why would you use it most? Because it's included in a KW ecosystem, and we're very Google heavy. It's great for the workspace. Pros and cons, it's if you're in our Google ecosystem, you may or may not even know, but Gemini is already there. So if you're not using it, but you're in Sheets or you're in Docs or you're in your Gmail, there's a little icon that looks just like that that's in the upper right-hand corner that you can click on and play with it. You can ask it a question. By the way, if I'm searching for an email, what I found helpful is I'll ask Gemini a question while in my Gmail. Hey, can you try to find me the thing? And like I can ask it a question versus the previous iteration is there's a search bar, but you have to go, what's that guy's name again? Well, what company is he from? What's that street name? Like you'd have to be very specific. You can type it kind of a thought process and it'll help search for that or find the answer for you within your Gmail. So it's super helpful. There's Claude, as we talked about before. Some of the benefits of Claude versus the other ones is long documents. Claude is one of the few AI platforms that can handle really, really large files like HOA documents is a good example. You have a 200 or 300 page document. If you upload, and you may not know this, so know it now. If you upload it into ChatGPT, ChatGPT does something called parsing, where it'll go, I think that the gist of this document is, and so when you upload a 200 page document to ChatGPT and you go, give me the summary of this thing, it's going to give you the summary of what it thinks it is without reviewing all the pages. It's a lazy high school student that goes, I think that you're talking about Shakespeare, but I think that's what it is. And so if you're relying on that information, it might not be right. So that's called parsing. Most of these AI platforms don't parse well, with the exception of Claude. Claude does really, really well with that. Then there's Perplexity, which is my favorite one. The reason why I like Perplexity is it sources everything, which is really important because if it's giving me information, I want to know where it's getting the information from. And then when I click on it, I can see what page it got it from. So if it got it from another realtor's page, that may not be the accurate page. I'd like to refine it down to like a government source or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or NAR or whatever the case is. So you can have it be better sourced in Perplexity. The other thing I'd mention about Perplexity is you can access these other ones through Perplexity. So it has access to those large language models through that window. Then there's Llama. I don't really know anyone who uses Llama. Have you guys even heard of Llama? Grok. Do you guys use Grok? Grok is fun. Grok is wild. Grok is that kid that got kicked out of school. It swears a lot. It's crazy. So depending on your level of filter and what you're using it for, I wouldn't use Grok to do too many business application things. Grok, by the way, is part of Twitter and part of Tesla. So if you have one or both of those applications, this is already built into your own ecosystem too. I think all of them can be. It depends on what the borders are, but it wants to be the loud, obnoxious one of the group. So in that sense, you're probably right. It's fun and it's funny to use Grok if you're looking as a comedian. If you want to get, this is going to be far funnier than the rest, right? If you want to look at it from that perspective, but I don't use it for business data because I don't really trust it for that purpose. Then you have Copilot, which is a Microsoft product. And it's part of the same thing like Gemini. It's part of its own suite. So Microsoft 365 suite. So, yes. Oh, good question. Do you have an answer to that? So the question he asked was, is any of them synced up with or linked to Command?
So I will say we have a partnership with Google. That's why we have the suites. There is no like integration into Gemini. However, I use Gemini to answer your guys' command questions that you ask me, and the instructions that it gives me, I copy and paste into your guys' stuff. So even though there's not an integration or connection, it still has access to the information to answer those command questions.
So what Brian is saying is when you go, God, Brian is so smart. He answered that question via email so detailed. He's cheating and he just used Gemini. No, but that's also why we have ChatGPT and all those access to all these, Gemini and what have you for those reasons. So great use of that system. So here's a cheat sheet of what you should use, when and why. By the way, if you use ChatGPT and you use Claude, you can accomplish all these things in one, but they all have its strengths and weaknesses too. So keep that in mind. I'm not going to bore you with some of this stuff, but as an example, I put in, you're going to get different outputs because it's different LLMs and it's built differently. Just like, by the way, you know how there's 3 different credit providers? There's Experian, TransUnion, what's the other one? Equifax. You have 3 different scores, right? You're not going to get 750 on every single one because they all have a different algorithm that they're running your score on. So you might get 750 on one and 761 on another and 800 on the third. Similarly, you're going to have a different output, even with the same exact prompt on every single one. So this is an example of that. I put that prompt in and ChatGPT gave me this one and Perplexity gave me that one. So the tone of what the response is will change depending on what platform you're using too. What are some of the fears? That was the Kahoot question. What was some of the fears that you guys might have integrating some sort of AI platform into your business? And you guys seem to be more power user in this group more than anything, certainly you two on the end, but do you guys have any fears using AI in your business? Do you use it right now? What, being sued? Hey, listen, that's the best thing that you could have said. That is that's my fear for you. And you, the general you, not you as a Margie, but that's my fear too, because we have been sued. I will tell you. Not we as in me, I would not do that, but we as a brokerage have been sued before. Yes. And I'll give you an example, but there's no such thing as innocent, unfortunately. But I will go into an example. What do you use AI for? Creative stuff, mostly creative, marketing. Okay. And what platform do you use to analyze HOA docs? You do use Claude. And do you find, have you tried looking at the output of the analyzation of HOA docs and Claude versus another platform?
Chat. It told me that it was like a summarization of it, but it's like,
Did it also hallucinate?
yeah,
It did.
it was not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. You use that too. Yeah, I do use that as well. So AI can assist you with grammar, summaries, descriptions, can help you with emails. By the way, I don't know if you guys already have that thing turned on. When you generate an email, on the bottom of that, if you have Gemini in there, it'll go, what it's basically saying is, listen, it looks like you went to public school. Would you like me to help you jazz up this email a little bit, is what it's saying. It can help you with MLS data analysis, market research summaries, or general explanation of laws to you so that you can understand what the statute might be saying or what the gist of it is. I love looking at new laws that are coming down the pike that might affect our real estate industry. And as you guys probably would assume, some of the laws are confusing how politicians write it. So I got to put it in. I'm like, what are they trying to say? Like, why should I vote yes or no and why? What's the outcome potentially? How's it going to impact our industry? Like, those are the things that you can absolutely use this for. But here's what you should never use AI for, which is to interpret a contract provision or legal consequences to provide to a client, advise on zoning, tax, trust, or mortgage structuring because you are not licensed to do those things, replace regulatory disclosures, or apply laws to specific client situations. I see that, by the way, this one I see happen often. People will go, because they don't, you want to, as an agent, you want to be smart, right? You want to be the resource, you want to be valued by your client. So your client might ask you a question, hey, can I build such and such and do this with the property and do the thing? And then you don't want to go, I'm not sure. I don't know. You have to call the county. You got to call DPP. So you might go, let me get back to you. And then you pull it up on ChatGPT. Yes, you can. And you can do, well, what if it just hallucinated? What if you didn't put the proper prompt in? What if you structured it wrong? What if it just made it up? Now it's on you. It's not on the platform. It's not on chat. You cannot sue OpenAI for the wrong information you provide. So this is interesting. In 2023, actually, I take it back. I started writing this in 2023 because this was only a couple of weeks old when it came out. In 2023, 2 New York attorneys used ChatGPT to write their legal brief, which is this case here. AI generated 6 completely fake cases. It invented the case names, citations, quotes, and the legal positions and holdings. The attorneys submitted the brief without verifying any of the citations. The judge found that the cases did not exist anywhere in US courts. The attorneys were sanctioned, fined, and ordered to notify their clients and the courts that their cases were falsely cited. Not good. So there's nothing inherently improper about using AI, but the rules impose a gatekeeping role on attorneys. And like attorneys, we are also licensed as well. So it absolutely needs to have a strong guardrail for us too. So why does AI hallucinate? Why does it trick us? Why does it lie to us? Hallucinations occur when an LLM produces false but believable information. Have you ever had like I talk, not like a crazy person, but I talk to AI all the time. And sometimes I'm challenging it. We'll talk about that, what that looks like and how you should challenge it all the time. But have you ever gotten a response and it's so confident? It's so confident about what it's giving you. And you're like, that's not accurate at all. And then you're pushing back and it's telling you, and then it goes, oh yeah, you're right. Well, if I didn't go like the extra steps and I gave that information to a client, then it would be, egg on your face, right? So common causes as to why it hallucinates, it doesn't have enough data. Because remember, it has its own LLM. It must fill in the blank. It's designed, AI is designed specifically to solve your problem. It wants to solve your problem. It wants to give you the answer. If it doesn't know the answer, it will make up the answer just to make you happy. It's trying to satisfy you. It could be that the prompt was vague or missing constraints. Like I gave you the example before, we'll talk about it in more detail, is if I went to ChatGPT and I'm like, how do I make more money? Is that a strong prompt or a weak prompt? If you don't know AI and you've not used it and it's your first your first question that you're going to ask it, you might think, that's a pretty good question, right? How do I make more money? But what is it like? What industry are you in? It doesn't know. We know it doesn't know. How many hours do you put in per day, per week? Are you new? Are you experienced? What market are you? I mean, there's so many things. So that's not a good question. That's not a good prompt. It's too vague. You might have asked it something outside of its training. So the beauty behind some of the platforms too, with ChatGPT, there's something called custom GPTs. So if it's something that you use on a regular basis, like for instance, on ChatGPT, I have contracts, law, statutes, custom GPT, something that I use, that I trained it with all of Hawaii statutes, all of the rules and regulations for our industry, our policies and guidelines, all the history of the bulletins going back to like 1992. The bulletins are all the things that the commission is telling us, this person got their hand slapped for this and got their hand slapped for that. So it's my go-to that I've trained to ask questions on. So I'll go, hey, are you allowed to do it below? If I don't know the answer, it pulls it not from the internet. It pulls it only from that source that I provided it. It's trained to only look at that. And if it doesn't know the answer, it's trained to say, I don't know the answer to that. So it doesn't hallucinate. Yes. It's a great question. So Diane's asking, I said trained. What does trained mean? There's like certain languages and phrases that we use when you're talking about AI. Hallucination's one of them. That's a commonly used term. And training or trained is another one. And it's exactly what it sounds is, if you open a dialogue on ChatGPT and you just ask it a question, have you trained it? No. Because as soon as you end that conversation, it's gone, kaput. But if you intend on having a longer dialogue within that chatbot or create a custom GPT, or in Perplexity, it's called Spaces, which is the same thing as a custom GPT. It's an enclosed environment to do one thing that you're training it to. So for instance, when I'm creating a couple of CE classes that I'm sending over to the commission for review. So what I do is I go and I pull all the applicable statute, and I'm saying it to you because you just went through this. I went in and created a custom space. I uploaded all the rules, the application, all the things that are applicable to creating an approved CE course through the commission. Yes. The statute, yep. The application to create that course, like it knows everything it needs to know about that subject matter or issue or circumstance. And you might use that custom GPT that you've trained for a single use, or you might go back to it on a regular basis. Here's another example. I have something called a broker update, like a daily update for brokers or for BICs. What I want to know is I don't want to have politics in there. I want to know the things daily that I need to know for that day that pertain to our industry and pertain to me as a principal broker that I can help agents with. So if you're like, hey, is the sky falling? Is the market going to crash? What's happening? Like I have a thing that I look at every single morning that consolidates all the news and data that pertains to our market, our industry, and it filters out all the noise. I don't want to know what celebrity got a DUI. I don't want to know politics I'm just talking about how it's going to impact our industry, right? So I've trained it to only go to viable sources, government sources, some legitimate verified news sources, like those kind of things. So training your AI is typically when you're going to revisit it or you're trying to complete a project. So it could be ongoing or it could be a project. If you're just asking it a question, there's no training needing. You just need a proper prompt.
On the left side, I have a list of all what kind of questions I've asked.
Yes, your history. It's like your file cabinet.
Right.
No, you're just using it as a single prompt question or a series of questions. So when you click on that, you're opening that file drawer, and it could have been one question that you asked. You could have asked it, why is Chad so handsome every single day? Or you could have asked 15 different questions and it will show all the history of the dialogue that you had, right? So that's not training. That's a single prompt. Mhm.
Right.
You could do it on a single thread, but then you'd have to find it in your library, which is not the easiest route to do. If you want to create, and I can help you with this after too, but if you want to train it, I would recommend creating a custom GPT, which is in ChatGPT, and training it for the purpose of what you wanted to do it for. Yeah, so that's a great example. So you might have, as an example, well, I can also share with you the one that I've created, so you can access that, but for the purpose of going through the exercise and understanding it, you would open up ChatGPT, go to custom GPTs, then you would upload all the files or point it to the websites that are pertinent for that purpose.
So that's also why we use Claude, because unlike other AIs I've used, it has a like perpetual memory of everything that you upload. So everything that we do, like everything. Right. So no matter what chat we use, like it knows our branding guidelines. So whenever we create something, it does everything in line, and so on and so forth. So if we want to have it analyze a contract, like it already knows where it needs to pull from, or like, what statutes it applies to.
Talking about Claude.
He's talking about Claude. So by the way, ChatGPT, they're all different, not better or worse, it's just different, right? ChatGPT and Perplexity does something similar to that if you set up in the settings in your own profile. So you'd have to go in your own profile and go, like for instance, on ChatGPT, I go, I'm the president and principal broker for Keller Williams, so that when I ask it a question, it knows the position in which I'm asking from. It's not going to assume that, oh, you're a buyer of like, no, that's not my role in this case. I'm just asking a question for my client who happens to be a buyer. So in that sense, you've kind of trained it in terms of your initial profile. And if you don't have that set up, please do. Please set that up. And you can also set up guardrails too. When you answer questions, only factual, don't hallucinate. Like you can set that up in your profile as well. 6 biggest hallucination danger categories. AI can generate puffing, which is exaggerated or subjective claims. And I have a couple of examples I'll show you. It can produce inaccurate or unverifiable property information. It can invent features, upgrades, or amenities that don't exist. It can misstate legal facts, zoning, permitting, or HOA rules. It can unintentionally create misleading marketing language. And it can use absolute statements that in turn violate HRS 467 and HAR 16993, as well as potentially MLS rules. What's that? Yes. Yes. And we have an example in there too. Confirmation bias. You guys know what confirmation bias is? If I put in there in AI, why is my ex-wife so horrible? It's going to go, your ex-wife is so horrible because that's confirmation bias, right? I'm looking for an answer and I'm asking the question, trying to generate, my ex-wife is not that bad, by the way, but it'll give me the answer that I suggested in my question. Exactly. That's exactly right. And it should probably say that. So when you want AI to confirm your belief, it often will. AI is built to be helpful, which means it may reinforce your own assumptions even when they're wrong. So an example is use AI to tell me why this home is worth 1.5 million. That's a confirmation bias driven question. Tell me why this home is worth 1.5 million, right? Tell me why Mililani Mauka is the safest area in Oahu. That's a confirmation bias driven question. Tell me why my client should absolutely take this offer. So what happens is AI reinforces your own opinion instead of challenging it. It creates biased or misleading summaries. It produces subjective claims and puffing, and then of course you have all these different violations as a result. So how to avoid it? Instead of asking AI to confirm your belief, you should ask it to test, compare, and challenge it. So you want the information, but immediately just play the straw man or steel man approach to it as well. So a better approach or better prompt instead of that would be analyze pricing for this property using objective MLS data, keep a neutral tone, provide both supporting and contradicting evidence. Now it's providing all the data for you in a very objective way. So an example of puffing is, this is the quietest neighborhood on the island. Guaranteed appreciation. Oh my God, I would have a heart attack if I saw that. The safest condo building in Honolulu, the most desirable unit stack, so on and so forth. All these things are puffing, which creates misrepresentation, negligence, potential RICO risks. So confirmation bias is obviously when AI tells you what you want it to hear. And it happens because AI is trying to support what the agent is trying to put in it for the question. So we talked about some of those examples already. Why it's dangerous. It leads to confirmation bias of incorrect pricing, creates overconfidence and poor decision-making. These are all prompts. So AI could be so powerful. I've had a conversation with a couple of people and they said, AI, it didn't really give me the information I wanted. I'm telling you, AI is unbelievable. It is like, you know how the internet was powerful? It brought us from one era to another. AI is like 100 times more powerful than that. Imagine that. Imagine the world that we live in right now without internet. Like that's the leap that it took with internet. AI is 100 times more powerful than that if you use it the right way. So legal accountability, liability remains with the brokerage and the licensee, not the AI tool. So not ChatGPT, not Gemini, not Claude. AI outputs are considered assistance, not authoritative decisions. Improper AI use can lead to misrepresentation, fair housing violations, advertising and disclosure issues. Brokers are responsible for oversight of AI within its brokerage. So in the updated P&G, you'll see all kinds of different things for cybersecurity as well as AI usage. Licensees are responsible for reviewing all AI-generated content before its use. I think this is understated because I see a lot of people, they'll post it and they'll go, oh, I just got it from ChatGPT. It's not correct. It's not accurate. Ensuring accuracy, fairness, and compliance. And if you're using autonomous or agentic AI, actions taken without human review is really important. So if you've trained an AI agent to do a task and it doesn't like post to my IG and do this and all this other kind of stuff, if you're not in control and reviewing that process, what if it posts something that creates a fair housing violation or misrepresentation? So you got to take that human intervention and review it. The other thing too is, and this was, I don't know if I have a slide in here because it just happened a couple of weeks ago, but a court ruled that a court can legally subpoena your AI records. I say that, not only are some of you probably misusing AI in a lot of different ways. What is this spot on my foot? Whatever you guys are using it for. But if you're uploading confidential client data, that can be subpoenaed. That's not as private as you might think. Not only is there a setting to share or not share that data, but it can subpoena that information too. So please keep that in mind. Confidentiality risk, client financial personal transaction data can be exposed, as we talked about. AI access to work computers or cloud storage files. CRM data could be exposed. Oh, yeah, I have that in there as of February 2026. So here are some of the rules and statutes that pertain to some of these things that you guys can read as they continue. I'm telling you, I think that there's going to be a lot more violations that you're going to see show up on the bulletin in coming years. Right now, it's new. So the commission is trying to figure out like how to handle and deal with certain things. How they identify, yeah, well, it's going to be like a violation. It's got to be fair housing, it's misrepresentation, whatever that looks like. But then you're going to see probably a note or consideration as to how they got there. And how they got there was not paying attention to AI and how they're using it. So examples of puffing, this neighborhood's completely safe. Whereas a fact base, if you kind of did it the way that we talked about with the proper prompts, according to HPT's public crime map, the last 6 months show X reported incidents in this area. Totally different. One's objective, one's a little bit more exaggerated. MIT did a study where they studied participants in the age group of 18 to 39. They divided it into 3 groups: AI users, search engine users like Google, and then brain only, so no online access to any tools. Researchers used an EEG to monitor brain activity across neutral, linguistic, and behavior measures. The group only using AI showed the lowest brainwave activity. The brain only showed the strongest. And so I think that the point of this MIT study is you don't want AI, especially depending on what your usage is. It has a lot of benefits. If you're using it for creativity and what have you, fantastic. But if you're using it, like if a client emails you something and you just upload that entire email into AI and have AI respond for you, do you even know what the contents of the email was? Do you even know what the pain point that the client was trying to illustrate to you? Do you know what AI generated as a response? Because I do know agents that just do that. They're like on autopilot with the email. They don't even know the client's name because they're just like, they're so efficient. But that efficiency is going to lead to liability. So this is a balance. AI is unbelievable at certain things. It really is unbelievable at learning. Like I love putting either a book title in there or slides in there or long PDFs in there. You know how HBR once a month puts out the stats? I put it in there. If you have a listing presentation in a certain area, I'll go, here's the stats for the month. I have a listing presentation. Tell me everything that I need to know for the purposes of a listing presentation and create some slides for the home located here based upon this data. That's amazing. It's doing exactly what it would take me otherwise 10 hours to do in a matter of minutes, right? It makes you stronger, you more knowledgeable, you more experienced in that setting. That's a really good use of AI. AI can dramatically increase your leverage, speed, creativity, and clarity, but it does not replace licensing or professional judgment. It cannot replace a professional for legal advice, contract interpretation, tax guidance, mortgage qualification advice. I know people are misusing this. I see it all the time. People will go, for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, if I do blah, 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 then they'll tell the client, yeah, you can do that. Well, you're not the underwriter. Like you have no idea if that's accurate or inaccurate based upon their specific situation, their debt to income ratio, their loan to value scenario, because that changes what the question that you asked ChatGPT or Gemini was. So you have to be very, very careful. So moving to prompts, what is a prompt? Essentially what a prompt is a question. Like when you ask the chatbot a question, it's a prompt. A prompt is the input that starts the conversation or triggers a response from that large language model. A prompt can also be text, an image, audio, video. So what then is something called prompt engineering? So we know what the prompt is. What is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is the process of writing great instructions to consistently get the results that you want from that AI platform. Because AI responses often vary, the best prompts combine structure with some trial and error, meaning that back and forth, because you're kind of finding that sweet spot. So it becomes a little bit of a science and art. We do have a 4-part prompting framework called RICE that improves your chances of getting useful outputs by helping you create better inputs. So here's what RICE looks like. The R in RICE is the role. So you're going to tell ChatGPT, like if you're asking the question about what is your favorite use for ChatGPT? Some creative stuff, I'm assuming, right?
I mean, I use it for captions.
Okay. So Lexi is saying that she uses it for captions on social media. So if I'm using it for captions on social media, what would I use for the R? Act as a social media expert with expertise on Instagram, right? That's the role. Totally different than what should I put as this caption? Totally different. So you're setting the role. The instructions, tell the model what you want to do and not do. Set the rules and give clear instructions. Use clear tone words to shape that response, like formal, casual, friendly, serious, humorous. Make a funny post. I'd like to engage first-time home buyers. Like you got to set that proper tone. The context. Add any extra information that the model needs, like data it wouldn't already know. Put this near the end since it may change with each use. An example, the target audience is investors with 40+ single-family doors. Totally different tone, right, than a first-time home buyer. And then give it an example. Provide sample of inputs that have ideal responses. And it could be, by the way, a competitor's response. Don't copy, but match its tone. Give me other examples. That wouldn't be plagiarism. So RICE, role, instructions, context, and examples. And that would be an example of the model or framework for prompt engineering. Here's an example of a good prompt. I'm trying to earn extra income in real estate. How do I increase my income? Kind of talked about that, joked about that, right? If you want your LLM to remember new details about you, ChatGPT works great about this, is you just put remember this, and it'll log it in its memory. Here's a better prompt. That was a good prompt. Here's a better prompt. You are a business coach for Hawaii residential real estate agents. I'm a part-time agent with 10 to 15 extra hours each week to dedicate to real estate. My income goal for the next 12 months is to add 50 to 100,000 in GCI from real estate. Here's my past 12 months of production. And if you notice, it's all highlighted because you can get that from your multi-year trend report in command. So that's a report that you have access to for you. Here are my goals for the next 12 months. And then you say, well, here's what I did, and here's what I'm trying to do. And you upload that information in. Then you say, analyze the gap between my current production and my goal, identify which numbers, contract appointments, listings taken, buyer consults, I need to change. Build me a 30, 60, 90 action plan using only 2 to 3 lead gen strategies that fit a part-time schedule. And then also suggest how I can use AI weekly to support these activities, scripts, follow-ups, content, and tracking. Is that a good prompt? Is it better than the previous prompt? Here's an even better prompt. It kind of builds on that even further. You're an experienced real estate productivity coach training in the economic model, lead generation models, and conversion rates with emphasis on accountability, time blocking, and lead generation math. Your goal is not just to identify the income gap, but to help the agent change their habits and see exactly what to do differently. I'll give you all the data, all that kind of stuff. And I want you to calculate my average GCI per transaction, average commission per hour of real estate lead generation. I want you to identify my current contract to appointment and appointment to closing ratio. And I want you to estimate how many contacts, appointments, and signed agreements I need in order to reach my gap. Then create me a 30, 60, 90 action plan focused on lead generation and leverage. Show me how AI can support each activity without replacing what requires my license. Give me one critical mindset breakthrough based upon what you see in my numbers. And then format your response into 5 short sections. My current reality, my goal and the gap, the lead generation math, the contact hours and conversion, the 90-day behavior shift plan, and how AI can help me do this faster. Do you understand like the difference between asking a question and a prompt, and then the prompt engineering being it? So this seems like, oh my God, that's so much. But the way I got here is I kept toying with it. I kept going back and forth. What about this? What about that? Oh, you know what? I forgot about this. Oh, can you match it to this? Can you add this? And when I finally got the output that I wanted, I go, perfect. Give me back the script to get the same output for someone else. And then gave me that. So I had it generate its own prompt that I went back and forth with it for like 45 minutes. So you can do the same by copying and pasting it yourself and then uploading your own multi-year trend report. So the first version, generic advice. How do I make more income? All right, go out there and do it. Make some more money. You're the greatest, right? It's going to give you generic information. The next one is better. It included numbers and goals. It may suggest, hey, you got to double your closings. Well, no kidding, right? The last one is a full diagnostic breakdown. It has lead generation math. It gives you efficient ratios, time block behavior plan, so forth. So you don't have to do all the work yourself. Once you have that basic prompt, as I mentioned before, simply add this command before your prompt. Take my prompt below and rewrite it to be clearer, detailed, and effective to use with an LLM like yourself. I'll send all these to you guys, by the way. So here's it. By the way, ChatGPT, if you're using that, or OpenAI, you can go here and explore GPTs. There are prompt writing applications that other people have already created. So you can use that too. Here's some hacks on the framework. Clarification hack. Before the AI starts writing command, Command it to ask you clarifying questions to ensure that it fully understands what you're asking. So you're prompting it to ask you clarifying questions. Show your work and cite your sources, one of my favorite prompts. When asking for data or market analysis, demand that the AI backs up its claims with sources. That way you can avoid hallucinations. Break it down. Turn a big and daunting project into a series of clear and manageable steps. Have you ever asked it for something big and it goes, you're like, oh my God, I don't know where to start. Break it down. Break it down into small, digestible steps. The options hack. Give me 3 different solutions. That one's great. Don't just give me one, give me 3 different solutions. This is great too. Critique your own answer. You turn AI on itself. After the AI provides you an answer, ask it to act as a critic and find its own weaknesses in its work. Because oftentimes it will. It'll literally turn itself and go, you know what, this was not a great idea. I'm like, you're the one that gave me the idea. But that's how you kind of work it out, especially for creative stuff. What am I missing? This prompts the AI to think outside the box and identify factors you're not yet even considering. And this was one of my favorite, the steelman approach. Argue the opposite view. Ask the AI to take the opposite side of the argument to help you prepare for objections and stress test your logic, especially in sales. So if you're asking it to help you prepare for a listing presentation, once you got all the data put together, all the stuff put together, ask it to take the steelman approach as to why this seller won't use you. What kind of pushback are they going to potentially give me so that you can prepare? So you can have those questions already answered. Using proper prompting, how would you have AI help you with the description for the following? So as an example, I just gave a very generic example, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home. That's just the facts, all objective. I went to ChatGPT and I said, I have a new listing. Here's a description. Give me a high-level marketing description that garners a lot of attention and views so I can sell this home. 3 exclamation points, 4 exclamation points. And it goes on with a lot of things that are very misleading, with some misrepresentation, some negligence built into that. Versus, help me draft a property description that is well-worded, professional, helps with marketing and keyword searches. However, must be the following: is accurate, objective, does not use puffing and exaggeration, stays within fair housing rules and guidelines. The description should not embellish unproven facts about the area, nearby schools, or neighborhood facts. That's the difference between, you get an output, and some people would think that's the same thing. It's not the same thing. One is going to get you in trouble. One is going to get you a RICO violation, versus one will actually accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Real estate agents create tons of content using AI. A prompt should identify the audience, set the tone, include proper formatting, which is kind of broken down here. Listing descriptions is great for that. Video scripts, social media stuff is great for this. Conversation frameworks, objection handling, which is kind of what we talked about. It's fantastic for that. You can also set up automated Google review responses. These are just examples of things that you can use it for. Enhance your virtual meetings. There's tons of AI tools that help capture data. My glasses I have on is AI glasses. I don't have it activated at the moment, but it records the conversation. I also have it where if somebody asks me a question, it's a fact-based thing. If you're like, remember the 62 Yankees, the star pitcher? I don't know who that is. I'm not even a baseball fan. It's going to hear it and then give me the answer. So I'm like, oh yeah, that was such a, and it just shows up in my lens. It could, huh? Yeah, it's built into my glasses.
See what you guess it's only here, right?
Yeah, it's only for me. And there's no video, so it's not meta glasses. It's just for me, for my information. How do I get it? Oh, it's a company called Even Reality. So this is a giveaway too. So if ever you see glasses that have this on it, yeah, it's great though. But they're prescription glasses, so I actually need them to see anyways. So who does AI recommend? This is something that we put in there before, and we tried it with, I don't know if you guys remember when Jason Abrams was down. We put it in real quick. Do you guys remember that? It was, who does AI recommend in the Honolulu area? And at the time it popped up, Eric Taniguchi was like top 3. So here's the interesting thing, a little exercise that you can do for yourself is ask your own, whatever platform that you use, who do you recommend? Who's in the top 10 in whatever area, Kapolei, in town, whatever it is, of real estate agents in my area, and see what it pulls up. If you're not in there, ask it, where do I fall on that list? Then ask it, how do I get into the top 10? Give me the actual step-by-step actionable items for me to get from number 115, whatever that is, to the top 10 of most recommended. Because it's not talking about sales. You want to show up, because would you guys agree that AI is going to be the next Google? People use it now. Like, what's the best restaurant to go to in this area? What's whatever the thing is. So you want to be in that LLM as a recommended whatever, recommended agent in this case. So you can reverse engineer how you got there. NotebookLM, I don't have it tied to the, you don't have my NotebookLM up, do you? NotebookLM is unbelievable. It's one of my favorite learning tools. It is not for creativity. Do you guys use it? What do you use it for? For learning purposes? Yes. Podcast creations, absolutely perfect. Do you use NotebookLM? Do you use it? For what? Okay. Yeah. Yes, that's great for slide decks. Do you guys use it? Have you heard of it? Have you heard of it? Okay. So NotebookLM is not like the other tools. It's mainly used for learning. It can help you with other things, but it's mainly used for learning. So if there's a subject that you want to know, get better at, yes.
Yeah, but I'm more of a phone.
Mine sync together too, yeah. So I put it in on my laptop, and then but I can access it on either device. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So you can put large PDFs in, you can put YouTube videos in, you can put all kinds of data in, and it's kind of like, think of it like a canvas. You can put one PDF in, one YouTube link in, all these other kind of things, and if all of them are selected, you can go give me a summary on all of them. You can go create a custom slide deck, and it'll create unbelievable, very well-crafted slides. Have you done the slides before? You've done the slides? It's very good. It can create a video, a motion animated video for you. My favorite, so it depends on how you learn. My favorite is the podcast feature that she mentioned. So the podcast is 2 people, a man and woman, male, female, and they're having a dialogue about your subject. So I would have had it, and I'm sorry, I didn't set it up properly before, but I had one that I used this slide deck, and I just popped it in, and it just talks about, it's like, yeah, today we're going to talk about AI using in Hawaii. And the lady responds like, really? Tell me more about that. The guy's like, literally all the stuff. So if you are a learner on like audiobooks, podcasts, that's the method for you. You put in a whole book in there, and it'll play it back for you in a snippet. You can't control the topic or rather how they're speaking or who's speaking. You just put it in there, and it kind of auto outputs it. It's always going to be a male and female in the podcast. It'll give you anywhere between 8 to like 16 minutes roughly of a podcast. The videos are about the same depending on the length of it. You can go in and unselect certain things. You can, if there's a long, if someone sent you a long YouTube and goes, hey, watch this hour-and-a-half YouTube on, and you're like, oh my God, I got to watch an hour-and-a-half YouTube. You can put that link in there and give a summary as to what that entirety of that YouTube was. It's unbelievable. It's really, really good. If nothing else, use that for learning. By the way, what I've also done is I've put the 14-page purchase contract in there, and it had a whole podcast explaining what the purchase contract was. So how could you use this for your benefit? What if you had the listing appointment and you put in your client's information, all the data that I've mentioned, and you can click slides, and it's going to output slides for your client based upon the current data in the market. So very good. Yeah, do you have questions? So it's great for those who want low hallucination rates. It's very, very accurate on the information that you're putting in. Information is scattered across different platforms. and you want to transform it to kind of combine things into one. So it takes all the different sources that you're putting in, again, a PDF, a Word document, a YouTube link, whatever it is, and it puts it and creates it together, or you can just use one source. So that's what it kind of looks like. I entered it in there. It will give you a summary of it. I put only one PDF, so that's why this is checked. Otherwise, it would have all these different inputs in. Gave me the summary. I can ask it questions about it, and then you can click on all these different things. So if you're studying for a test, anyone want to get their broker's license? After you've attended Diane's class, she gives you the book to study on. You can put that PDF and all that material in here. It can create flashcards for you. It can create quizzes for you. It can create a slide deck for you, infographics for you. It's really, really good. Custom GPTs. So if you want to create your own custom, by the way, this is the Chad's daily news brief. That's the thing that I was telling about, Hawaii broker daily brief. If you hit explore, it'll take you there to my GPTs where you can create. You hit create, or you can use ones that are already in existence here. You click on new GPT, you can name it whatever you want, you can add a description, and then you add the instructions. So for Diane, what were you going to use it for? All the statutes, right? So the instructions could be analyze specifically Hawaii state statutes and administrative rules pertaining to real estate specifically. Access only this data, don't hallucinate, don't go outside of this data and create your own information, so on and so forth. That's all the instructions that you would input in here. And then you could upload your files. I created one, by the way, and I would have had it ready, and that's my fault. I created something called a coach. So I thought to myself, well, what would it be like if we had access to, wouldn't you like to be personally coached by like Jason Abrams or Jay Papasan or Gary Keller or Jay Shetty or Tony Robbins or Mel Robbins, right? I put all of them. I put like 30 thought leaders into this thing. And I said, think like this person, blah, 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 for the purpose of having a real estate coach. And it's prompted, so you can play with it. You can actually have a conversation with it. And it's completely free. I created it, trained it, and it works for me. So I can go into a scenario and go, I have a first-time home buyer. They don't want to really move and purchase right now. They said the interest rates are too high. Can you help me with it? And it says, yeah, let's go. Let's get it started. So I'll role play with it and go, I'll pretend that it's a client. Hey, now's the time to buy. And it'll go, I would grade that from 1 to 10, a 6. Here's how you should improve. You want to try that again? Like, it'll help coach you along so that you can improve your scripts and see where your gaps are. And it's coming from all the real estate experts as well as kind of the empathy experts as well. So you kind of want to mix the two together. So if you want to search for it, it's that. I created it from scratch. ChatGPT also created the logo as well. So you can make your own. You can access mine. There's a link here that you can access mine. It'll be on the slides, so you can just copy and paste it and log into yours as well. So by now, hopefully you understand how to use AI to generate high quality results that improve your business using the RICE model, using NotebookLM, those kind of things. Recurring tasks are fantastic. Certain projects are really, really good to use for it. Perplexity has voice assistant. ChatGPT, does anyone talk to their LLM? Do you? Yeah, I use it all the time. I just got a new car, so I have Grok in there. Do you use Grok in your car? No? Sometimes I'm driving around, I got to ask a quick question because it's just automated, right? So I use the voice access all the time. Let's see, is there anything else in here? So here's a challenge. In the next 7 days, what you should do if you're not using it already is go through your own operation. Even as a solo agent, you should have a business plan, right? So go through or create a business plan using AI or ChatGPT. You should absolutely upload your previous production. You have access to it in your command. Upload your trend report in there. If you don't know how to do that, let me know and I'll help you. Use NotebookLM, study the contract or study statutes or study something that's in your world that you should know use NotebookLM to create a podcast for you or create a video for you and see how you like it. Because you might be able to turn that into a listing presentation or a buyer presentation as well. Test your digital authority by asking it who's the top agents in Honolulu, and then reverse engineering how you can be a top agent in Honolulu. What specific steps you need to take. Try rewriting your bio with the marketing role. Create a custom GPT, as we just kind of went through. And if you're only using one platform, try jumping into another one to see how its using, how its use is, accuracy is, and best cases is as well. If you need other resources, KW already has 2. I think they have, do they have a 3rd one now, or is it just these 2? They're just, is it? Yeah, I think you're right. So these 2 are already available. It's on the Google Drive if you don't have access to it. It's the AI for Real Estate Agents Playbook and the AI Playbook Large Language Models. And I think that they're writing a 3rd. But all of it will be sent out to you guys as well if you want it. But any questions about AI for real estate agents or things that we went through? I'm going to send out all the slides. I know it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. The main thing is that if you aren't using it daily, you should use it daily. Not just asking it a question, not like using it like Google, but using it for something productive as leverage. Any questions?
You upload statutes, or are you uploading like the stats? Are you copy and pasting and putting it in the chat with a prompt?
Yeah, so Lisa was asking for those at home. When I upload the stats from MLS, I go to High Central, and in that one section you can download all the stats that they upload monthly, and it's in a PDF document. So I open it up, download that PDF document, and upload it into whatever platform that you're using to either analyze it or to create a slide. Or one thing that I found that is interesting too, I'm not in production anymore, but what I would do is that PDF document, put it into NotebookLM to create a video, because that video will be great. Because if it creates a video that's like 6 minutes or 5 minutes long, that's a great video that you can use for your listing presentation as to start. Go here. Lisa, thank you so much. I created this just for you. I wanted to show you what's happening in the market right now, what the landscape of the market is. Let its video just kind of run through and go, now here's what I can do for you specifically to your home. How amazing is that? Like, that's curated for that client. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you put the link to the statute?
No, I actually uploaded the PDF document.
Oh, okay.
So the question was, do I just put the link? I don't put some platforms can accept the link, but for the stats specifically, it's behind a membership wall. It's behind our membership.
So,
Mhm.
I have to open up the document and then upload it.
So for what she's talking about is the actual statutes or the administrative rules. They are on a PDF on the commission site. So when you search for it, it'll give you a PDF document. Fortunately, it's already there. If it wasn't there and it was just online, there is a way to get it online. The problem with that is you're only going to see the headers of that. So by the way, when you guys are creating these kind of things, make sure you know what you're putting in. If you just put the link to get to the headers, in our case, or in this example for statutes or administrative rules, it's going to give you only the headers. You have to click on the headers to get to another page to get to the content. It's not going to know that. It's going to only land on that one page.
State, it's like one page that has maybe like one paragraph.
Yeah.
And then you have to go to the next page.
Correct. Yeah. So there's a couple ways to go around it. You can, it can take all the text that it needs. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be color coded. It doesn't need to be indented or anything like that. You can just literally Control A, all of it, then Control C for copy, and then paste it in there, right? You can just copy, paste all this raw text data, or you can hit Control P for print and print a printable PDF version and upload that, or you can find the actual PDF that already exists on it, if there is one, and upload that. For I can send you the link for the statutes because I have it on my laptop. But some websites for heavy data already have all of its documents on a PDF already. Fortunately, in this case, it already does. So I'll send that to you. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Feel free to ask me. This class will change constantly, but I think we should have it like once a quarter because AI is moving fast all the time. Keep in mind, like Canva already has AI built into it. Photoshop already has AI built into it. Everything is already kind of AI driven. Yes.
Man, has AI built into it. KWIQ is an AI bot built into Command for you guys. So it is literally in every platform you use, everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Thank you guys who jumped on via Zoom. Thank you for coming in person. We will send out the slides later today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.